Welcome back to Something's Wrong Here, a Broken Reel Media production. So this is our second episode. We had our intro, and this is going to be our second one. We are on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts right now, so go listen to that. Hit the like, hit the share, follow us on all social medias. Please do that.
Yes, the normal stuffs.
All of that. We love being roasted. So best comments will probably get read online. We're all about the humor, and if you have something good, please tell us all about it. I am Randy, and I'm here with my two co-hosts today.
I have a feeling like we're going to get a lot of roasting comments today.
We're going to address the elephant in the room if you're watching on YouTube. So give it 1 minute. We'll get there, I promise.
No premature roastulation.
No, not yet.
I'm trying not to.
So we got Ken-zee here.
Yeah, Ken-zee.
And Brian, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Good. So,
great.
I guess let's address the elephant in the room. We are filming today on Labor Day, and in honor of kickoff for this week, or as I like to call it, Taylor Swift season here in Kansas City.
Okay.
We get to watch her, and then every once in a while they'll cut to her boyfriend, catch a touchdown, and score 18 points and hit a home run.
What do you like to watch when your team plays?
Well, I haven't got there yet, but
sorry, we're not allowed to start that yet. Right.
But we are based in Kansas City, and we have known Travis Kelce long before his relationship status and everything else has the greatest tight end in the game right now.
Yep.
So, with that being said,
he's a very spirited gentleman.
Today's episode is about the dumbing down of America. And as you can see, I said we are here in Kansas City, and I have a Cowboys jersey on. And the reason I have that on is because we are covering the dumbing down of America. And there are still adults out there like me who are stupid enough to believe that it's our year. There's somebody screaming, "We dem boys," right now saying, "This is our year."
Oh, there definitely is. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good, though. Hey, man.
I mean, you got to have goals, right?
It's good to have them.
What's it been, 30 years?
If you're a football fan, there's only one team that wins every year, so there's a lot of have-nots.
I'm trying to think, have the Cowboys done anything since I've been alive?
Yes.
Was it, the
you had to be like 2 or 3.
The Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Alvin
We're
Harper
talking 30
era.
years.
Because
I can remember it.
It was like 92, 93.
Yeah, I was like 7,
like
so
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You probably would not remember it.
I was in junior high, I think.
Yeah. No, I do not remember it.
It has been a very long time.
I don't think you were big at all. Anywhere, in any capacity. That was a long time ago.
All right.
It was a very long time ago. But since we're talking about sports, and I'm feeling like being a little controversial today.
Oh,
Let's
boy.
hear it.
Should we stick with the sports?
Hey, I like a hot take on sports.
All right. Well, let's.
And I'm dumb enough to give them usually.
Yeah.
You will like this one then. Since we're talking about the dumbing down of America, let's talk about economics and the WNBA.
That's a segue.
Okay.
Economics and the WNBA. The reason I'm saying this is because I'm going to lay out a few facts for us real quick, and there is still going to be people who will argue me on this. And it fits right
probably.
in. Well, maybe. I don't know if
Possible.
You got to start.
I hope not. But so the we've seen it online. We've seen it everywhere. The WNBA players talking about how they want their fair share. They deserve more pay. They need this. They need that. They wanted the charter flights, which they got, which has been paid for the next 2 years. But there's people on the internet constantly arguing back and forth, and apparently have no idea or any concept of economics. So to break down, they want a fair share, which I'm all about. If we can pay them more, they are bringing a product to the country. It's a release for us. We get to watch, we get to enjoy, we get away. So you know what? They need their fair share. But with that being said, a fair share and economics don't always add up.
True.
So with that being said, I'm gonna break it down for you. The WNBA has been around for 25 years now, I believe, and every year they have averaged a $10 million loss, which has been paid for by the NBA. There's 12 teams in the WNBA, and they roster 12. So
Okay.
that's 144 players total.
Yep.
At a $10 million loss, if we want to argue fair share, every player needs to go to their bank, pull out $70,000, write out a check to the commissioner, and say, here's my fair share. $70,000 each player owes just to get to zero. That's not even breaking a profit. That's just to get to zero.
Don't think they make a ton of money in salary either.
They don't. I mean, to say the rookies, they start under 80,000. I know it starts with a 7. I think $79,000 is what
Okay.
the rookie starts at. So, and like I said, I'm bringing this up because people are still going to argue me about this, and I don't think there really is a way to argue it. I mean, you can say that they're doing a job. They're bringing in money, this, that, and the other. But when you're not bringing in money, I don't know of any other company who's been around for 25 years and has averaged $250 million in losses is still in business, other than probably the U.S. Postal Service.
Unless they're subsidized by the government.
The Postal Service, which is subsidized by the government and the government.
Yeah. That's the biggest
So
example.
other than that, I mean,
Although
in a free market.
I'd be ecstatic if we were talking about the government with only a $10 million loss. But
Yeah, I know.
Right?
not
That
the
would be
question.
amazing.
Not the
That's-
question.
That's
every
that's
second
not even a
loss.
county loss.
Yeah, no joke.
So, I mean, how can you look at these numbers?
Yeah.
And people still argue that, oh, well, you have to pay them more. Well, where's it coming from? What are you going to do? What?
I would argue that people don't know the numbers. I would argue that people just see something and say something.
Yeah, well, people are even, like what I've seen online, people throwing the numbers out there and well, you don't understand. They deserve to be paid. Yeah, okay, I get that. But, I would love to get paid more at my job. I don't, because this is what we bring in. This is what the market dictates. And this is what...
Right.
What has to happen to keep my business going? And there's always more. There's, you got corporate greed and all that kind of stuff. That's a different topic for a different time. But when you're losing money, I don't know if you can really get into a whole corporate greed thing because
Yeah.
What percentage of males do you think are sports fans? Like enjoy watching sports, have a favorite team.
I would say because it does go across so many demographics and so many different sports. So
Yeah,
I would say probably 80% regularly engage in sports throughout a year.
Anything from fucking car racing to swimming to anything. So everybody's got their thing, right? They got their
Soccer, football, baseball,
66.
basketball.
So yeah, I mean anywhere from there. I think
66 to 80.
Now whether they're rabid fans, but I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
think,
no.
Okay.
I'm not, I
So-
mean, you get down to like
so
20% when you're the hardcore.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah. So, but here's the converse, or the opposite question, which is take females as a demographic.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them watch sports like that?
Well, I mean that's one of the big arguments is why.
Right?
I would
know some
actually
that do.
argue that there's
It's growing.
In my personal opinion, the majority of the females that I surround myself with that watch sports and such are watching the same teams I'm watching.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you
Yeah.
leading in that
Yeah,
direction?
yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm not leading in any one direction, but the point is, I think there's something to be said about. I mean, guys, like, how do I approach it? Guys tend to want to watch their teams.
Yeah.
And they want to celebrate, and they want to make it a social event just as much as an observation of sport. Okay,
Yep.
we want to get together with our friends. Our friends all love the team too. Bam. Now, I'm not saying that women aren't like that, because I do know groups of women that love soccer, that will get
Absolutely.
like right now we're getting together to watch U.S. Open tennis. Like I know a lot of women who
Just see what's coming here in Kansas City.
Yeah.
They're actually opening an all-women's sports bar.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty,
I did see that.
which is a cool idea.
I know they've done it in
Hey,
other
man.
towns. I don't know the success rate or profit margin, but from what I've seen, I believe they're doing rather well actually.
Yeah.
I think it'd be more,
Because there is a demographic for it. I mean, there are
Absolutely.
women who love
Absolutely.
sports and everything, but
absolutely.
it is a lot smaller number than men who go
Yeah.
out to support, and the women that come to a lot of the men's games are there with their significant other. Who,
Yep, agreed. Agreed.
I would say that half of them enjoy it, half of them got drug along and are just happy to be there for the experience.
Well, so I mean, as a business predicting numbers, predicting revenue, you can already see right there then that if viewership is a third across gender, okay, and even some of that effect is a result of my wife just likes to watch the games with us because it's fun and we get our friends over and all this stuff.
Right.
it's very hard to say that somehow this way smaller demographic is going to buy tickets at a number that is going to continue to gain. Now what I will say is players like Caitlin Clark, dude, amazing like boon for the numbers. People are interested. People like Angel Reese. They like the rivalry. And what's funny is I like seeing that because now you're seeing, I mean, I just personally, I see young families with little kids that want to go watch Caitlin Clark's games, or they want to watch the Casey Current. They want to go to that neat venue that's down the river. I don't know if it keeps going. I hope that it does.
So if you question,
sure,
age-old adism, I think, or whatever they're called, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah. I hope so.
I disagree because they built the WNBA, and for 25 years they didn't come.
Not saying for everything, but with something like KC Current, we're seeing a huge pop.
Yeah.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, we're in Kansas City right now talking about a different sport, about a different everything. Yeah. We have a fresh new stadium with a fresh new team, and it has a spark behind it that's already part of this city in a different way.
Well, and I think it helped as well because, first of all, you're going into it as the champions.
Yep.
Second of all, you're going into it advertised as the first women's stadium ever to be built at that capacity.
I would almost laugh and say, if to tell you that people are going to be more allured by women's soccer than women's basketball is bonkers to me. I mean, how many people make fun of soccer compared to basketball?
Well, you got to look at it too. Is like so he brought up the Caitlin Clark, the Angel Reese. They've brought a hype to the game. You got a player that's averaging 3-pointers that are longer than Steph Curry's on the season.
She heaves them, man.
She heaves them from out there. She's like, Steph Curry's a long ball. He's known to shoot from 4 or 5 feet out behind the arc. She's beating his average by like 4 feet.
She's fun to watch in college, man. I haven't got a chance to watch.
But with that being said, my belief is that in the next 2 to 3 years, you're not going to see the hype of the WNBA because you have the same product out there still. You got the hype behind there, but you brought up Angel Reese. She's shooting like 37% from 5 feet in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awful.
She's a defensive specialist.
But I will give her credit. I mean, she is the Dennis Rodman of the WNBA. She will weasel her way in, grab the rebounds and everything.
Yeah, gritty.
But with that being said, sales are up, I believe, 192% in the WNBA.
Yeah,
that's good.
Last I read, their projected loss was to be 50 million, 40 million more than they've ever lost before.
That's crazy. The more money you make, the more money you spend.
So if you want to talk about that, I mean, maybe there's a misappropriation of funds going on. I mean, with that money, you could have paid roughly, $350,000 more to each player. Yeah. But instead, they spent $50 million on chartered flights, which I think there's 14 flights a year.
That's a lot of money.
I would be curious to know some more data on.
I know they asked for the chartered flights, and they have been for safety and everything. And if it is a safety issue, then it's definitely worth it. But there's something wrong at the top if you bring in twice more than you've ever made and you lose 5 times more than you've ever lost.
They paid for the growth. They paid for the growth, man.
But I don't think it's going to stay because, I mean, you got the hype of 2 people. Can 2 people carry a full league for a long period of time?
No, but my hope is that
they spark it.
My hope is that let's be honest. I mean, it's the leagues want stories. Mm-hmm. They want human interest stories, and we want that. Like, we want that. We want the people we idolize, the people that we're fans of, the players. We want them to be compelling, interesting people.
Well, look at what
and the more we focus on the stories for these people, the more we see the rivalries, those things.
Look what like Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa did for baseball that year. I mean, everybody was glued to their TVs.
Yep.
Yeah, McGuire would hit one, Sosa would hit one.
2024, you've got in season documentaries being produced at sports levels, like receiver, quarterback, all that.
Those are dope too.
And so, I mean, you're talking about now having the interior technology and interior of the team and what's going on.
As Chiefs fans, we see that too because one of the neatest pieces of media that's been produced the last few years is the franchise. That Chiefs, it's like 30. It's. I mean, I felt like the organization was kind of ahead of the curve doing this like professional production. But then you start winning Super Bowls, and it's great stuff. That's gold.
That's one of our things. We've got season tickets. We got in
human interest.
Have had them for a while now.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to carry on the sports conversations, and definitely we need to talk about sports more and how we can figure this into the podcast.
Is there something dumber than your jersey on one of these cards?
Yes. What I'm going to say next, and then after that, no.
Good odds there's probably something there.
Oh, so 2018, Forbes released an article stating that only 2/3 of millennials, think about that, 2/3, 66% of millennials believe.
You said it is only 2/3.
Only 2/3.
Okay.
Believe that the Earth is round. That means 1/3 of millennials believe the Earth is flat.
I don't know if it means that.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think you could say
it was a flat earther article.
That explains the ambiguity of the headline itself.
Okay. I would feel that you would struggle to reproduce that result of said numbers quickly in our demographic available.
I'll agree with that. I mean, you got to remember when polls are taken, when you do studies and stuff, it's not you don't poll 8.5 billion people.
Right.
You don't get a real number.
Right.
You may go to a certain area and they may believe in a certain way or a certain campus. Maybe there's where they didn't say where they got their numbers from. It just said a poll they did.
Flat Earth convention and only 2/3 of them believe it's round.
Pretty good odds. Pretty good odds.
That's pretty good odds. Yeah, absolutely.
Can't manipulate that statistic.
Right. But all numbers aside,
yeah,
there is a decent amount of people these days that believe the Earth is flat. How? I just can't wrap my mind around it.
I gave up.
That's a good answer.
George Bush described them as children left behind, I believe. I don't know what else to say. I don't mean to be rude. I can't give... If you're not open to what is out there already, and it's not just me who believes in it.
How's everything round and circular? A ball, a sphere. You can look into the sky and see it with minimal magnification, some of them. How can you look out there and be like, oh yeah, all of that, the sun's round, this round, but we're a disc floating. And not only a disc, let me go into...
Makes perfect sense.
Have you ever talked to anybody? Have you ever talked to anybody and have them explain what flat Earth is?
Yes. Actually, I have.
So have I. So
it's interesting.
So what I was told is that it's like a Frisbee just suspended there. And there's a invisible dome over us.
Yeah, the firmament.
The firmament. There's a dome over us, a glass dome. And I said, all right, so why don't you walk and Christopher Columbus right off the edge of the Earth then? Yeah. Well,
the ice walls, dude.
If you walk straight, because it's a disc, you're actually walking like the groove in a record. So you're actually curving instead of... When you're walking north, you're coming around in a circle instead of going up and over and around.
So you have a dynamic set of cardinal directions?
I guess.
Makes total sense. I'm telling you, this is...
I mean, I'm seeing it as an electromagnetic field.
I'm getting it in stereo.
Here's your force, but it is with the right-hand rule of physics, but we'll leave that one alone. Yeah, you're onto something there. What?
Right? Yeah, how do we...
I'm just going to stick with this. I believe Earth is spherical.
Where does a spheroid object, right? Not perfectly, it's a spheroid object. What do we... If we were to try to abstract out some commonality between people that believe in this, where do you think that comes from? Do you think it's a group... Do you think it's a group belief in some specific thing? Because flat earther, a lot of it comes from people that are Christians. They believe that there's verbiage in the Bible that says that flat, the firmament's above, separates us from the stars in the heavens. Or let's go to the next. The next is people that don't trust experts, don't trust science. I hate to use that. I hate to use the term.
I love to ask questions, but at a certain point, tough love when this is what is happening. It's brought about.
I mean, I'm all for questioning because I know a lot of people are like, well, you cannot question science.
Sure, yeah.
You can.
You're supposed to.
Doesn't mean you're right.
That's how science works.
And that's how every scientist will tell you. Every theory has been questioned It has been tested.
Either disproven
it has
or verified.
Been tested again.
Yep.
A paper's been written on it. Somebody has gone over that paper. Then they rewrote the paper, and then it got tested again, and then it could maybe be accepted. But it's not a simple process. It's like, oh yeah, I believe that the Earth is flat, and we're just going to believe it. That's not how science works.
We just confirmed the ambipolar charge that's up in the sky.
I saw that.
Yeah, we just got there, and that took 60 plus years.
Yeah, I just saw that.
60 plus years of a theory to finally prove it, and we've been in space the entire time.
Yeah, that's
so.
Yeah.
We said the biggest.
I understand some patience, but I just don't see any new science coming out and going, "Oh, we had it wrong, so wrong."
The theme is, and this has been going on for a while. It's anti-intellectual slant, which is a lack of belief in expertise.
Totally tubular, bro.
Tubular, bro. I mean it though. Like we look at what we have at our hands. We have this supercomputer,
correct,
with answers to any conceivable question. Now, whether or not we understand those answers, that's variable. But everybody's an expert on everything now, because you're holding this confirmation bias bubble in your hands, and the problem is, it's Dunning-Kruger on a scale, this grand scale.
It's Dunning-Kruger on a grand scale of people that don't know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is.
This is very true. That's ironic, right?
So explain the Dunning-Kruger effect. I know what it is, but go ahead.
Dunning-Kruger effect is a thing that happens to people as they learn about a topic of domain of knowledge. As you go up the arc in learning, as you gain more knowledge, as you get about 25% of the way up, the human tendency is to overestimate your expertise. You've started to learn, you've started to gain some conceptual clarity, and you
start commenting on it,
and you start
acting like you're an expert.
I know those things, and
you know just enough to be wrong.
And it's that effect is as you begin to learn in your infancy of learning, you will put a lot more. You'll put a lot more importance onto your own thinking and think that you know everything. But as you go up the arc, your perception of knowledge, perception of your own knowledge about the topic tends to go down. So as you become the real guru, you learn that I don't really know anything at all.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm learning is that I don't know much. Yeah, very, very much so. And with all this knowledge at your hands, and with minimal, it's like I don't really like regulation all that much of speech, but with minimal editing at any type, at any time, you're swimming in a sea of information. And quite frankly, unless you believe in the legitimacy of real thinking, evidence-based stuff, unless you have enough. So you've made this thing makes you an expert, and you don't need experts anymore. I can read about a topic and become pretty well versed in it pretty quickly. But if somebody in my family has cancer, I'm going to go see the best oncologist I can find, and I'm never going to be able to grok that topic as well as that person can.
No, absolutely not.
But there are people that are like, well, I don't know. I don't think we should go see a doctor.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Take a little bit of this oil here, a little bit of this pill here, and
put these crystals on your night table.
Yeah.
Which that's fine. It's a woo-woo kind of thing, but
well, I think
that's not based on any kind of. It's not based on any kind of rationality. Which knowledge, finding knowledge is based on principles, rationalism, observation.
If it makes you feel better, puts you in a good mood, you think it's doing. I think a lot of times with illness, your mentality actually.
Sure.
It's not going to overpower medicine or science or anything like that. But having a positive attitude going into something like that, I think can have a positive outcome.
Placebo effect is
the placebo effect's great.
And I think there's also there's a place where the placebo effect is okay, and it's just fine and balanced. In a sense of, if it helps you get over some anxiety, great.
Yeah.
But don't take a sugar pill if you have cancer.
Yeah.
Probably. You can though.
It's a wide balance.
Might not hurt.
But at the same time, the thought process being, use what you get.
Yep.
Yeah. There's too much research. Everything. Too many people working tirelessly to just say, oh, we're gonna go on thoughts and prayers, and it's gonna be all good and dandy. So, with that being said, you brought up the phone.
Yeah. Yep.
And, I have argued this multiple times with you guys. You go to search a topic, you get 5, 6 of sponsored now.
Yep.
Now it's all sponsored sites up at the top.
Yep.
Then your last 2, 3 at the bottom of a Google search, you end up with some information.
Yep.
And a lot of times it's your major media. So you might have CNN as number 1, Fox as number 2. They like to argue it out with each other. So you get 2 different sides of one topic. And a lot of times they're diametrically opposed from each other just so they can get the clicks. I mean, we have this device that nobody's ever had, that cell phone.
Yeah.
We can look up anything. Like you said, we have the knowledge to do it.
Yeah.
But now...
most of us have the knowledge.
Yeah,
we are talking about the dumbing down of America. So yes, most of us have the knowledge because a lot of them will click the sponsor site, take it as fact, and...
well, we know that. We know that happens.
It
Definitely know that happens.
But now, just to get an answer to a simple question that you just don't know, it takes a 30-minute deep dive. Then you have to read through all these things, and then you have to compile a conclusion on your own because you don't get a straight answer half the time. I mean, there are verified sites, and you can go to those and everything. But everything is so varied now that it's polarizing.
Well, it's all editorial content.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all and I don't know. Maybe that's a product of when I was a kid. I really didn't care about the news. I thought it was boring. But then again, I really think that there was more of an emphasis on objectively reported news. Some places.
Well, yeah.
I've always been,
the news. The news used to be on 3 times a day.
Yeah, and also they used to make disclaimers on everything that was going to be opinion. This does not represent the station. This is not,
And if your parents turned it on at 10 and the same shit was on at 5, they just didn't talk about it again. Like they found something happy to talk about. They showed a cat come out of a tree or something like.
Well, when you created the 24-hour news channel, the stations
there's only so much you can cover.
If there's not enough,
it's just like the cell phone. We used to have a phone that was mounted to a wall, and we could leave and not be staring at it, wondering if it was going to go off and worry about it.
Had an answering machine at home.
Yeah. And the thing about it was, if it went off and you didn't answer it, you were probably out having fun or doing something. You weren't waiting for something to just pop up every time.
It's the strangest thing. Back to what you were just talking about, how we've argued about. As a kid, no phones. You go outside, play sports. Wait till the street lights go out, then you're coming home, and that's the curfew.
You said you push the wheel with the stick.
Yep. That's what we were doing. Hunting saber-tooth
cone
tigers
with the ball.
Well, no, but and I think that those activities, playing football in the yard with the neighborhood kids, built. That's the kind of thing that builds community in people, right? And I knew all my friends' parents. If we did something stupid, they would yell at us. I mean, we knew we would get the business from my neighbor's dad too, and I think it's hysterical because we've traded one thing for the other. Okay. That's not there anymore. It is. Don't get me wrong. Like, there are plenty of kids that aren't stuck on devices for 9 hours a day and play sports and play out in the yard and run and are dirty. Absolutely. But as we give these younger generations this tool that I don't really know what it is and what it does. I don't. I could list a bunch of things that it does, a bunch of effects it causes, but I don't think I really know what it is. But I know that the more the kid stares at that phone, the less they're going to have of what we had.
Yeah.
The less like running through the creeks and hiking up in the hills and in the woods and developing, to me, what's real life skills where you're engaging with what's around you. But now you have this thing here that really you have everything at your fingertips, yet you are completely detached from the essence of the activity. You could go look at the coolest pictures of woods and forests and views. Great. I love them. They're great to look at on a fucking 4-inch screen. That's depressing.
Yeah.
Put me there and let me see the fucking majesty of it.
So I think there's a level that I kind of take away from this or make relatable, that a lot of parents now that I look at and see, they're worried about their kids' expensive clothing, so that's no longer go out and play in the mud.
Yeah.
There's,
you're gonna ruin your shoes.
Yeah, we had like 2 or 3 pairs of clothes. That was your outside clothes, and then you didn't wear anything else but that outside.
And I mean, but same thing. I grew up in an era where it was come home when it's dark.
Yep.
There wasn't a phone in your pocket, and if it,
ride our bikes
that
everywhere,
didn't
man.
exist. And now we've got phones in our pockets, so you can't fall down and get scraped. You can't come home dirty.
I wasn't allowed to come home or come in the house, and the only reason I could is before it started getting dark. A lot of days was I better be bleeding or a bone sticking out.
Yeah. And then on top of it, anytime that you've got kids that are hanging out in the park just before sundown, I can go out, step onto my porch, and see 3 neighbors just like, we should call the cops.
Yeah, what are those kids doing out there?
Dude?
Those dang kids.
Yeah, I actually get to watch the police show up to that park so many times, and it's just almost always it's nothing. It's just kids being kids.
Yeah,
it's kids being kids, and we forgot that's what they can be doing.
Yeah.
And
instead
I guess
of staring
maybe
at a
there's
screen
a level
for
of safety
10 hours
and
a day.
comfort of lock them in the room and give them a screen, but like at the same time,
The crappy part is it's not just smartphones for that demographic though either. It's video games.
I guess I would say technology in a general sense.
I mean, I played video games growing up.
Me too.
I want to say I was probably 6 years old when I got a Nintendo.
Well, we just had Pong when I was a little kid, so remember.
Literally Pong. They hit a rock with another rock back and forth. They didn't have
Primordial pickleball.
Was this Pong IRL?
Well, you asked me, is there anything dumber than the jersey I'm wearing? I may have one more thing that's
just about to grip and rip a Cowboys joke.
We'll save that.
Yeah, I'll save it.
Ken-zee, how do you make chocolate milk?
Are you asking me like a physical step-by-step question?
Just the 3 steps. How do you make chocolate
Give
milk?
me the algorithm.
3 steps.
3 steps.
Do I want run-on sentences to clarify
Sure.
context?
Just make me a glass of chocolate milk real quick.
Ascertain a source of milk. Place it into a vessel.
What color is this milk?
I guess I associate it as a beigeish, grayish color because it's not
White.
pure white.
But we'll say white.
But it's not pure white.
But we're getting at this. All right. So, according to CNN and the Dairy Foundation, 7%.
The Dairy Foundation, a good source of information.
Very trustworthy.
Trusting sources.
7% of adults, they believe chocolate milks come from brown cows.
Yep.
We live in a country, which 7%, you're like, all right, that's pretty low. 17.3 million people in this country believe that they got their chocolate milk from a brown cow instead of a white and black spotted cow.
That makes total sense.
I mean, my mind was blown it didn't come from the brown cow.
I would assume that this is the same number of people that wear that jersey going, yahoo, rah, rah, go Dowls, we got a shot.
We them boys.
We them boys.
It's our year. Oh, God.
Yes, they are the same people.
I like how excited you are about that. That's good. I'm pretty excited about it, too.
I mean, what is your question?
I don't really have a question.
How
It's
is
more
that
than a...
Make me feel bad?
How is that possible?
You win.
How have we gotten here is my question. How have we gotten here?
Because we have textbooks in different counties
Well,
and
that's a
different
good point.
states banning different
Do
information.
you still have those numbers?
Yes.
All right. So the numbers in our country, we think that, we teach across the board. You know, we should be all learning the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're 50 miles down the road, 3 states over. There should be some criteria that everything has to meet and mesh with and work together. But what are some stats on how the textbooks work?
I mean, there's over 200 textbooks teaching the same demographic generation of kids in this country.
And what about, wasn't it Florida, I believe you mentioned?
Well, Florida is
It's a different animal.
It's a different animal. It's a whole different Florida man itself.
Like 50 different texts
it's ugly
through the whole state?
And then,
Crazy shit happens in Florida, dude. I'm telling you.
And then you got like up in Montana or Idaho, there was the librarian who got fired because she refused to remove the books from the library that didn't exist in the library, so they fired her.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even... where do you start there? Because I think something's wrong here. That person should have a job with more pay for dealing with the people that they see every day. Clearly. I mean, that person right there gets a bonus to me. That person gets their job back and a bonus. Because that's pretty pathetic to fire somebody for something that doesn't exist.
And what was that? The school board that decided this, or
It was the city council, if I remember right. It was the public library.
Education's a funny thing, man.
And yeah, there was a book ban on it. Was they wanted a book about trans shit gone, and it didn't exist in the library. And there was I think it was 43 different request removals for things that weren't in the library.
and because she couldn't remove them.
Because they didn't exist, she could not process the paperwork, so they said she was bad at her job and fired her.
I'm curious to know if there's some more of a backstory to it, but this day and age, I could see there being no backstory. And
I'll
just
say it this way: it came from a data bitch.
People worry about backlash, like the school districts, schools. I mean, if they think there's negativity coming, get ahead of the negativity.
Yeah, I mean the dairy farmers. Oof,
We'll apologize later if we screwed up.
I say the dairy farmers that's like the same level of scary as the homeschooling. I don't know what you call those groups.
I mean, they're only as good as the people teaching.
Their lobbyisms, their lobbyists.
I know homeschool kids are people that were homeschooled growing up who are sharp.
Yeah,
and
I'm not knocking homeschool.
well adjusted.
I was homeschooled for a short period of time, but
and I know ones that aren't.
Right.
So
I'm just saying there's a homeschool program right now that's teaching that, guys were getting water out of the river while dinosaurs are drinking and the bears are hunting across the stream.
Don't we have fossils
That
for
didn't
that?
fucking happen.
no.
I'm sorry. You're right. We'll flag it. That's my opinion.
Facts and feelings, brother.
But, I mean, I just haven't seen that one. That's a whole new caricature for me, is to see the pterodactyls cruising and patrolling while Jim's getting water.
Hey, I'm telling you, it's a symptom of an overlying concept, which is this is kind of what I thought. I want to bring it back because I like the flat Earth versus round Earth thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make the Christian argument just because I think it's the easiest one to make. Is it seems that the two sides are, science. Let's say science and the sun. We're a heliocentric model. We revolve around the sun. That's a very hands off. We're not the kings.
So you say.
We're just a piece of the machinery revolving around the center, the thing that gives energy, and that's more of like a science-based, community, collective-based. We understand that we're part of the cog. We're not the machine. We're part of the machine. Whereas the flat Earth conception seems to revolve more in a place where we are the center and we are the focus of the system and we are the only focus of this. We're the main focus of the system versus just being part of the system. And that's it's a trust. Okay, back to trust in experts.
Yeah.
What do the experts say? Well, the experts say this thing we're spinning around has something to do with it.
Well, Ken-zee mentioned, dinosaurs and everything, and you mentioned the Christians. It made me think of a video I saw, and maybe you guys have seen it, maybe you haven't. Okay. It's a woman at some sort of convention, and she's holding up a giant monster can. And she's talking about how the monster, all the representations, but then she goes into fossils. How we're all being duped.
Okay.
Because these people, they came and they found the fossils in the ground. Well, it started out with dinosaurs don't exist. Because they found the fossils in the ground. And if you have this preconception of what a dinosaur is, you can take these fossils and you can put them together any way you want and make this creature that doesn't exist. So what they're doing is they're finding these things. Some of them laid out already, just right there, making a shape in the ground, a known shape that makes sense anatomically. But no, they're finding the bones and they're manipulating them to make these mythical creatures to fool us that dinosaurs exist. Because before,
though, we haven't been smart enough to create the fossil for the fucking missing link. Come on, people.
Right?
I stopped listening to you because I assumed that Match.com's founder was just sitting there like, this could be the person we can't fix. Fuck! Because finding someone for that level of bonkers, you're gonna need it's out there, but you're gonna have to look hard.
I'm just still saying, there's people that if they can't conceptualize something or understand it, then it must be bullshit.
But the thing is, it's not even conceptualizing. It's right there in freaking front of you. Like a giant thing inside of a building called a museum. Yeah. It is right in front of you, and they're saying, nope, that don't exist. They made that.
Those NASA people did that.
You gotta know when to hold them and know when to run the fuck away from the scary ones.
Oh, she had a look in her eyes as she's explaining this that it was definitely one of the scary ones.
Yeah.
Well, you guys want to take this to a second episode?
Yep.
Yeah, we could probably keep going.
Let's take it. We could probably keep going with this and everything. So let's take a quick little break, and let's carry this over to a second episode.
Let's do that.
So with that being said, follow us, hit the likes. We appreciate you listening.
Talk to us, please.
Roast us.
Roast us if you want.
Roast that god awful Cowboys jersey, dude.
Yes,
please.
It's our year, Brian.
I've been trying to say intelligent.
It's like they tried to get the stars bigger because they're just so bad. You gotta see something.
I've been trying to come up with like good.
There's a reason there's one star.
Commentary.
That's the review.
Time, and I just keep looking at the jersey, going, oh.
It's ironic because
it's not a symbol. It's a review.
I can't think of us.
Maybe I'll lay some
on the
out.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
what was that?
Yeah, you can.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say, Ken-zee?
CeeDee Lamb's a hell of a player.
Fair.
He just got a nice contract extension too.
He's gonna throw him the ball.
I think Dak's not a bad player. I just don't know. I mean
his QB rating is
that.
usually
we'll
up
let
there.
other people roast you too, because obviously the Cowboys are going to do great this year.
I didn't say
you
that.
didn't, boys.
I didn't say that.
All right, and we are out.